Hey everyone. All right, let's check the sound. Let me know if you can hear me well, if you can see me. Okay, perfect. How many people did we have during the previous class? About 100. All right, that 60 to 80. All right. Okay, we're at 44 right now. So give it a minute and then we'll start. What was your previous class? What topic was it? LinkedIn. Yeah, that is one of the most important classes to have your profile set up properly. Okay. All right, let me share my screen and then we'll start. So today we're going to talk about SQL databases, and we will practice. You'll be able to do like basic SQL requests by the end of this lesson. So you can watch this lesson on a device if you want, like a handheld device, but you won't be able to practice. So to practice, you need to be in front of a computer or a laptop. If you don't have it right now, that's fine. You can just watch the lesson, and then when we get the recording, you can practice by going through the recording. So is there anyone who doesn't know like what a database is and like no idea what to even imagine when we talk about database? Like, what is that thing? No idea. Okay. So essentially, and let me share my screen. Have you ever worked, if you have no idea about like database SQL, have you ever worked before with spreadsheets, like schedules, Excel spreadsheets, whatever that might be? All right. So if you think about SQL database, you can think about it in terms of a spreadsheet, right? So that is spreadsheet that will have a bunch of different tables, right? And within those tables will be stored some sort of information, just like here. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. Sometimes people pronounce SQL. There are a lot of different variations, like MySQL, SQLite, all of those variations of it. They will be able to handle the commands we're going to learn today for like basic data retrieval. There are jobs on the market that require heavy knowledge of SQL and testing databases. Those jobs normally say it in the job description. So if they need a QA engineer that is also able to like create their own databases, tables, add data there, they would mention something like this. For the most of the QA engineers, knowing just basics of the SQL is enough. And you need SQL to go to the database and to retrieve some data to verify that the data is accurate. The data type is accurate that was stored. A real life example of that would be, well, let's say you work on Facebook new social media web page, right? And they have a partially ready application. So in the UI, they have create a user that you can use in browser, right? You can go ahead and put your first name, last name, put your address, email, desired password, whatever, hit create profile. So this part of the application is available in the UI. But the login component is not implemented yet. You can't really log in yet. So what would you do? How would you verify that the user was actually created and all of the proper information was stored? What would you do? Any guesses? Anyone? So, so you're able to create a profile in the user interface, in the UI, but you can't log in. The login part of the application is not ready. How do you verify that the user was actually created and stored? Because you cannot retrieve it from the UI, right? Yeah, you'll have to go to the database and verify that the user was stored in the database. So this is a real life example where would you use SQL and database knowledge, right? So as a tester, there are jobs that are really like heavy on SQL, tech jobs. Think about data analyst, think about backend developer, system administrators. Those maybe DevOps. Those might be more in depth in database creation and storing data and updating data. But a QA engineer, just going to database, understanding how to do like basic retrievals is mostly sufficient, right? If they'll ask something more advanced, that's going to be more of like a mid-level senior position. And again, if a job for a tester does mention a lot of SQL, that means he will be actually doing, but most of them don't. So they're more focused on other things. Okay, so there are SQL-based databases. There are different types of them. The SQL we're going to learn today is going to work in all of them. There are also NoSQL databases. They're called NoSQL because they don't use SQL. We're not going to do anything with them, but the main difference between SQL and NoSQL, SQL is more structured. So it's a lot more organized, more robust, but with that being said, it's a lot harder to manage and expand those. And then at some point they might become slower than NoSQL. So if SQL database is more like an Excel spreadsheet, the NoSQL database is like a Word document where you continuously keep on pushing data. Companies can use both SQL and NoSQL for different projects. Some of the bigger companies that work with like terabytes of data on daily basis, Twitter, Facebook, Google, they might have a NoSQL database for just that particular purpose, managing all of that data. Okay. All right. So again, as I said, we're doing a little introduction, and then we'll go into like hand-on exercises. So you will be actually executing SQL commands. SQL is quite popular on the interview, even if you're not going to do anything often at work retrieving data, they might still ask you. So like basic data retrievals are pretty popular question on the interview. All right, so what do we have in the SQL database? So we have tables. So for example, here we have two tables. One table is customers, other table here is orders. Within those tables, we have columns, right? So here's IDSN, name, age, height, weight, eyes, gender. Columns define what kind of data type will be stored underneath that column, right? So here we'll store text, here we'll store integer, here we store like a float, so number with a dot. Here we're going to store only one character, and so on. So they define the data type. There are also rows, right? And those are essentially records. So if we want to know everything about Alice, we just take a look at this record over here, and we get all the information about her, right? What else? So there's also primary key. Primary key is a unique identifier in the table for a specific record. So it can be null. There can be no record without primary key, and it has to be unique. So normally when you keep on adding stuff, you don't actually create manually a primary key. It will be automatically auto-incremented and added. So like after 5, there's going to be 6 and so on. Primary key serves a unique identifier for the record. And if we think here about the two Bobs, right? Let's say they're twins. They live in the same apartment, same age, weight, everything's the same, right? So the way how SQL going to tell one Bob, one twin from another is just by primary key. We do have primary key in real life, if you think about it. What do you think would be like your primary key in real life? A record that belongs only to you. No one else has it. Right, it's social security number. So your social security number is your primary key. Maybe somewhere there in the IRS, they have a social security number and then all of the taxpayer information associated with that primary key, right? And then there is a foreign key. So foreign key is when you have data that can store the column that can store the same data that's primary key from another table present. So for example, here, orders has its own primary key. Orders has, for each purchase, they have an ID. So for purchase of a banana, there's a ID 1, 3, 4, 5. There's a primary key. But this column is a foreign key, and this column creates something called like referential integrity. So you can actually look at this foreign key and look at this primary key and figure out who made all those purchases. So who do you think bought the banana, apples, and milk? Yeah, the second Bob, right? So IDSN number 4. So we can look at this IDSN number 4 here, and we can see that all of those purchases done by this specific IDSN, we can go to the customers, see who IDSN 4 is, and find the record. Okay, so is that clear how primary and foreign key work? Okay, any questions so far? Okay, good. There is something called schema, and this is how you type it, schema. Now you don't see schema. Essentially, schema is like a foundation, a layout, or a treasure map. Where is everything located? So before you can start adding data into tables, and you have to create schema. So schema will tell you how many tables there are in this database, how many columns are in each table, what kind of data type each column stores, what are the primary key, what are the foreign key, how the tables connected together. So schema is this foundation that developers create, then they can start adding data. Foreign key, yeah, like a foreigner. Foreign. Right, so this is a foreign key here. All right. Okay, so we're mostly done with the intro. Let's grab a link. Everyone go ahead and follow along over here. Preferably use Chrome. Again, if you're watching this on a phone or iPad, you're not going to be able to do that. Well, you actually may try, but it's going to be really, really hard to follow with the commands and type them out. So make sure you're in front of PC. If you're not, or in front of a laptop. If you're not, just keep on watching. And then once you have the recording, you can follow along with the recording practice. Okay. Good stuff. Now let me know when you have this link open. You should see the console here, SQL statement, and some code was in this console. It says file does not exist. Okay, let's try one more time. Here's the link. Try to access this link. Yeah, it's better that you work in for this console in Google Chrome. You might be able to work with it in Firefox and Safari, but there might be some issues. It works better in Chrome. So here's the link again. Try to access the link here. Why we're doing here, why we're going to be practicing on the web page here? Well, because otherwise we'll have to install like our own database, and that's going to take a little while. So it's going to be hard to get immediately into actually learning. Once you start working as a QA engineer, you're not going to be setting up databases. You will be just retrieving data. Doesn't exist. Says, okay, the link doesn't exist. Let's try that. Okay, so let's try that. If you go to this web page, does this page open? So if you go just to w3schools.com SQL, does this open? All right. Then click on SQL intro right here on the left side. Opened up this page, and then there is try it yourself. If you scroll down on the page, there's try it yourself button right here. Click on it. Okay, so looks like yeah, that page opened for me also. SQL default. So then you hit try it yourself. You can use this link as well. So you can just hit SQL home right here, follow the link, and then hit try it yourself from the home link. All right, so now everyone has access, right, to the console. Looks like we're all set. First thing first, let's hit this restore database button. If you don't have it on the right, that means you have a different resolution, that it's at the bottom. So scroll down, it will be here. So either on the right, or if you have a small different resolution, you have at the bottom. Just scroll down, click it, and say okay. So we're going to restore the database, just making sure that all the data is here is what it should be as a default data. Let me know once you're done, once you restored your database here. Okay, perfect. So here's our first SQL command. Go ahead and hit run SQL button and tell me, what do you see? If you're just joined and you're a little bit late, you can try and catch up with the link or you can just keep on watching. And after that, once you'll have the access to the recording, you can follow along with the recording. All right, yeah, so when we hit run SQL, we essentially get back a spreadsheet, right? Kind of similar thing that what we're looking here. So spreadsheet with data, or essentially this is actually a table, right? With data. You can read, after the end of this lesson, you'll be able to read SQL statements like a pure English. Those highlighted blue words that are all capital letters, they are SQL keywords, and they tell SQL what to do. So here you're asking to select something, and here you're pointing saying where from. This symbol, asterisk, or like a star, whatever you want to say, means all columns, right? So, for example, I see this, so this represents the table, how it is stored in database right now, because this star symbol, asterisk symbol means all columns, right? If I wanted to get back only certain columns from this table, I could have done, let's say, only customer name and their country. Let's say that's all I need, right? So I can specify the columns here instead of asterisk run it, and then I'll have only those two columns showing. So this means all of the columns, and then customers here is the name of the table. You see there's a list of tables on the right. At the very end, there is a semicolon. That means it is the end of your statement. You don't really need semicolon. And also sometimes you will see table names in square brackets like that. That's just for readability. So visually, it indicates better that, okay, this is in fact name of a table. You don't need those. And then again, semicolon, if you use it only once at the very end of your SQL statement. Otherwise, if you put it somewhere else or put it multiple times, SQL will not understand and it will break. So just, if you have it once at the very end of your statement. Okay. So here's my first task. Go ahead and write your own SQL. You can see I started a comment here, 2 green dashes. So if you put dash dash, this is a comment. SQL will ignore it, right? So I can type here whatever I want. So I want you to get all employees. Employees from employees table. Write an SQL statement where you get all employees from employees table. Once you're done writing it, highlight it, right click copy, then go to chat and right click paste. Or if you know the shortcut, so highlight it, press Control C, Command C if you're on Mac, go to the chat and press Control V or Command V if you're on Mac. All right, so good. How many records we got from employees? Let's take a look. 10 records. Perfect. All right, very nice. Is everyone following along? Are we clear on what we're doing? All right, yes. So we're getting the data from this database from a particular table. This database has multiple tables, customers, category, employees, order details. You just created a command and asked to get all of the data from the employees table, and you got it back. Can you identify a primary key in the employees table that you got back? What do you think the primary key is? What is the unique identifier that's auto-incrementing with every new record, doesn't repeat, has a value? Someone says birthday or a photo. Let me ask you this. Can you and your friend have the same birthday? So is that a unique identifier? It's not. All right. Can you and your friend have the same name for the picture that you took? So it's not a unique identifier, right? What about last name? Can you have the same last name as a different person? Right. How about social security number? Can you and your friend have the same social security number? All right. So if you do, IRS is coming for you. So employee ID here is a unique identifier for each record. So that means it's a primary key. Let's go back to customers. You can just click on the name of the table to get all of the data from it. What is the unique identifier? What is the primary key in the customers table? Customer ID. Okay, someone says nothing came back for my command. So hit restore database. This button, restore database. If you don't have it on the right, scroll down, and that means it's at the bottom here. Once you restore the database, go ahead and hit name of the table. So click on customers. And let me know if that worked for you and you got all of the information on customers back. All right, so another thing about SQL, it doesn't care about additional spaces, so this is fine, that's going to work. It doesn't also care about new lines, so this is fine, that's going to work. What it helps with when you will have more complex long SQL statements, I prefer, for example, to put every keyword on a new line, so it helps with readability of the code. It's easier to read. So essentially, this says select everything from customers table. You know, if everything is one line and it's a long statement, it can become hard to read. Can you just click on the table name record, table of content? That seems easier. Yeah, you can. Sure, you can. It's just fast way to get the data here right now. So if you want to do that, you can just click on it. We're trying to learn here how to do SQL commands, right? So that's why we're typing them out. Once you're at the interview, they'll ask you to get all of the records from customers table, and you will know how to answer that question. All right, let's get another keyword in. It's called where. So where is a search keyword, and you can initiate search. All you need to do is provide a column name after where, and then we're going to do exact match. So we're saying equal, and then a value that you're searching for. So values are mostly text values, so it's safe to say everything that you search, you can just put in quotes. Because we use an equal, it is looking for an exact match. So if you can see, I just ran a search and asked SQL, give me everything from customers table where record has city that equals to Berlin. And it only has one record here in this table. You see that record came back, but it is expecting an exact match because we used equal sign. What do I mean by that? So if I'll use B, lower b instead of uppercase B and run this, got no results back. So your SQL statement is valid, but it didn't find Berlin was a lower b. So it says, I don't have anything for you. So make sure that, if you're doing search with an equal sign, that you're typing the exact match, so it matches the record exactly in the table. Okay, so what I want you to do, get all customers from Germany. So create an SQL statement where you get all customers from Germany. It is sensitive to special characters. Someone says, I don't have results. So if you don't have results, first things you want to do, you want to restore database. Second thing you want to do, you want to copy your code and paste it in the chat so I can take a look at it and we'll see why it's not running. You most likely still in the employees table. Is that, maybe that's the reason, but copy and paste your code. So highlight it, copy, paste in the chat, and we'll take a look. Okay, so here, let's go line by line. Select everything from customers, and then we get a semicolon. What does the semicolon do? What happens when you have a semicolon? It ends your statement. You tell an SQL that, okay, this is the end of my command. And then you have this number of values here that SQL doesn't understand. So it breaks it. So if you run it now, it will give you an error. So what do you want to do? You want to delete the semicolon and try again. Someone's asking, how did I get the where command in there? I typed it out. So you type it. You go to this console. And then you start typing. Can you run multiple commands at the same time with semicolon? Yes, you can, but not in this console. So we're not doing it. This console, only one command at a time. Why doesn't customers have brackets? So customers brackets are optional. Brackets only a visual thing that you can add just to make sure you want to highlight that customers is in fact a table, but you do not need it. So either way is fine. All right, someone, if you cannot get results, let's restore database. Go ahead and restore database. And now I want you to, your task is to get all customers from Germany. Copy and paste your code in the chat. If you're not getting results, let's see. Let's see what happened. Okay, so this says select everything from customers that you have, and then you have end of statement. So you need to delete the end of statement, and then where city equals Berlin. So instead of where city equals Berlin, you need to do where country equals Germany, right? Run this, and that should work. Let's take a look at another one. So remember, when you're doing search, after where, you put in a column where you want the search to happen. So if you're putting city, but you're searching for Germany, it will not going to give you any results. So you need to update the name of the column to country. And try again. Okay. City. Okay, so as if let's take a look at your code. Select everything from customers where city equals to Germany. Okay, so what do you need to update here? Right. You want to update city to a country because Germany is a country, right? Let's see if try one more time and let me know if it worked for you. So update city to country on your search. Did it work? Okay, Marta, we looked at your code already, so but let's copy and paste it again. So copy it and paste it again, and let's give it another look. Alexander, if it's not working for you, also copy and paste it. Let's take a look. Why are we doing quotes? So quotes are just to indicate the value within them. So essentially, this is just saying text, right? Sometimes when you're searching for numbers or IDs, you don't need quotes, but if a value is a text value, it has to be in quotes. Either a double quote on each side or a single quote on each side. It's like a string. Okay, so most of the mistakes that happen and the bugs are created when there are typos. So when you read your code, make sure you read it line by line and making sure that there are no typos. So for here, for example, you're getting it from customers table, right? But the name of the table is customers was O. Okay, are we good to move on? How's everyone? I think Marta, did you figure out your code? What was wrong? Alexander, it's too many people typing. It's all right. I got all of the chat. Don't worry about it. I look at it, see all the messages. All right, so let's. So Marta, please copy and paste your code into the chat so we can take a look at it. Why you're getting an error. I think the very first time that you copy and pasted it, I updated it, but I'm not sure if you followed along. This was your very first code that you put in. Yeah, so, okay, so I was talking about your record, so pay attention, please. It was on the screen. So first of all, we got select everything from customers, and then you have a semicolon. And semicolon does end the statement. So that means your statement ends here. You told SQL by putting the semicolon here, my statement ends here. But then you have some more values after that. So it doesn't know what to do with them and it will break. Okay, so it breaks. gives you an error. So first you want to delete a semicolon. You put it only once if you want to at the very end of your statement here. Then with the city equals Berlin, there's no quote. You have to close it. So one quote is opening, the other one is closing for the value. Okay, now it works. But what we wanted to do, we wanted to search in a country column instead of a city, and we wanted to search for Germany instead of Berlin. Now run it, and it should work. Let me know if it worked. Select everything from customers where city equals Berlin not working. But that is a perfectly looking statement. If it's not working for you, do restore database, then it should work. Make sure there's no other code. Sometimes what happens, like you'll have your code here, and then you have a value like here that got lost. So press Control A to select everything in the console, and then press Delete to clear everything out. So once you do that, you can add your code and run it and see if it works. So there are no other values here. Also, maybe that's the browser, so just making sure use Chrome. Okay, so let's get into the next keyword. Next keyword is in. So instead of equal, you can use in. And the benefit of using in, you can actually provide multiple values. You have to open parentheses, and now we can search for multiple values within those parentheses. So city Berlin, and let's say city London, right? So by doing this, we're getting all the records back that are from London or Berlin. So go ahead and find everyone from Germany. Find everyone from Germany or USA. So create a SQL statement where you will get all of the customers that are from Germany or from the United States. Right now, we're doing it with in keyword. Okay. So in order to find everyone from Germany, you need to update city column to a country, and you need to provide proper values. So instead of Germany, we're going to have we have Germany, USA in the values, and the column we need to update to a country. Run it. We've got 24 records back. If you will type United States like that, it will not work because it's an exact match. And in the table, it is stored as USA. So it will only return Germany. Okay, so looks like we're good. How's everyone? Are you guys enjoying SQL so far? It's your first coding experience, so congratulations, you're coding. Not good, but carry on. Okay, so if you're late or if something, you're kind of behind on stuff, don't worry about it. There will be a recording, so you can follow along in the recording. You can watch now to get more understanding just by watching, and then you'll practice with the recording. What does in mean? It's a keyword. So instead of equal, we use an in. And if you read it in pure English, it reads like that. Select everything from customers, where essentially in country column, we have values Germany or United States. Because we can't use equal sign expects for single record to be after equal, and it must be an exact match. So doing something like that will break it. That's why we use in. Having a semicolon is not important. If you don't want it, don't put it in. So in manual QA, what will we do with SQL? So I gave you a very detailed example at the very beginning, right? You have a partially ready application where you can create an account using UI. You can put profile data in the UI, but the login functionality is not ready yet. It's not fully developed. So how are you going to verify that you actually created user? What will you do? You'll go into the database and search based on the criteria for that user. So that's how you're going to use it in the real life. It's also very popular during interviews. Not all places you're going to use it. Some places you will never use it. On average, if you're not heavily involved in the company into testing database, you might access database like once a month or once every 2 weeks to verify some data. But it's a very good skill to have, just like basic understanding of SQL, same as knowing Linux commands or knowing some of the like networking stuff or whatever. It's a good tool to have. Okay, so it looks like we're all set. Looks like we're all good. When you work at the company, I will show you how it's going to look in the company when they will have a special tool, special like database management system that you open up, and then you connect to a database, and then you'll have a console there and access to the database within that tool. It's essentially like an application on a computer that you open up. Yes, you can use equal to search for one thing, or, and we're getting to the next keyword, you can use another keyword called and then you can start adding multiple criteria for search. So let's say and postal code is equal to, and let's put this one. Now, when you use and keyword, it will only return record when all values are true for that record. So it will give us back a record if that record is either Germany or United States, and the postcode is equal to 80805. If I run it, we got one record back, and that's from Germany. So there's a postal code match, and then there's a country match. So both of the values that I provided insert matched, and it returned it. What is going to happen if I'll put here banana land? What do you think going to happen? Let's run it, see. No result. So it executed our SQL statement, but it just didn't find anything, right? So there's no banana land, at least in this table, no customers are from there. So let's get Germany back. And here we go. Right, so this is AND keyword. So AND keyword defines your search, it narrows it down. In order to return something, both of the criteria have to be true. So it has to have this value as true and this value as true. Essentially, it's called, in programming, it's called Boolean. It's either true or false. So if this is true and this is true, it will give you a record back. If one of those are false, so that record is not present, it's not going to give you anything. So if I'll put here 1111, run it, again, no results. Okay, so go ahead and create your own SQL statement, whatever you want, using AND keyword. I'll give you this as an example. You can create any SQL statement, but use AND keyword. All right, let's see some examples. Select everything from customers, where customer name Alfred's Fotoskiste, postal code 12209. Okay, that is there and that is there. Perfect. Okay. So here is an example with our next keyword, and it's called or. And I'll probably, on this example, I'm going to show what's the difference between or and. So you see, we got, when we used or keyword, what happened, we got both of the records. Because when you use or, whatever is true will be returned. So is there customer ID? Yes. There's customer ID 1, here it is. Is there customer ID 4? Yes, here it is. But if you're going to use and here, is there a single record that has both customer ID 1 and customer ID 4? Is that possible? So if I'll run this with and, I'll get no result. That's the main difference between and or. Okay. Select everything from customers, where country in Germany or United States, and address Wolfsburg 21. And we got a record. Perfect. All right, here we have multiple countries. So 3, Germany, United States, Mexico, and City, Mexico, DF. And we got all of the records from Mexico, Mexico, DF. Good. So let's say country is equal to Banana Land. And city is equal to Berlin. What will I get back? What do you guys think? No record. What if I'll change this to or? What do you think I'll get back? I'll get all Berlins. Yep, and we got 1 Berlin. Okay, perfect. So go ahead and try creating a statement using or keyword. Anything you want. Okay. Select everything from customers, where country in Germany, United States, or postal code 12209. And we got everything. So all of the Germany's, all of the United States, and all of those postal codes. I think this postal code you might want to put in quotes because this column does contain text. So this probably stores like string values, not only numbers. Select everything from customers who country in Germany or postal code 52066. There we go. Select everything from customer city. Okay, let's take a look. Not working. Select everything from customers where city equal to London and customer ID to 11. So this is going to be one condition, right? This. Or customer ID equals to 72. Okay, so I see what's the issue. This space, even though SQL doesn't care for the extra spaces, so like if I put something like this, it will work fine. But this space is actually breaking the name of the column. You see there is no space for customer ID, so you need to delete it. They have to be typed out exactly how you see them coming back. So postal code without a space, customer name without a space, customer ID without space. So if I'll do search now, we got customer from London, where the customer ID is 11 right here. And then we got customer ID 72 right here. Why it gave no results? Can you explain? Sure. So when you use AND keyword, it is looking for an exact match for each value provided on each side of AND. So for this, it has to have a match. And for this, it has to have a match in a single record. So here we have just Germany coming back because there is one record in Germany with postal code 52066. We're going to put OR here. It's going to return everything from Germany and United States plus this code, because OR returns whatever is true on either side of it. If both are true, it's going to return both true. So if I'll put here banana and here apple and search with OR, I'm still going to get this postal code back. But if I'll have all values invalid, so I don't know, here we're going to put sort, whatever. Run it now, there are no results. So no results just means there's no record matching your search criteria. That's why it's showing no results. Okay, good. Okay. So how's everyone? Is there someone whose code is not working? You see, Connor, you have this. So I think problem here was your quotes. They're not the quotes it's expecting. If you update the quotes, it should work. Okay. All right. So, I mean, that's a lot of information, guys. We're halfway through. Let's take a 10-minute break, right? So we'll get to the second part fresh. I'll see you in 10 minutes. Okay, we're back. Let me know if you can still see the screen, hear me. Is everything good? All right. Someone asking if the video quality is low when they're watching it. Every video that was uploaded is blurry when I open it. So I think you want to send this to support if you're having some quality issues with the video recordings provided after the class. They should help you out. All right. So let's do this. One more keyword, and then we'll move to another way of searching for things. What will happen if I'll do where country is equal to banana land? What will happen if I'll search for that? No result. But there's a keyword, and it's not called not. Where not country equal banana land. What do you think I'm gonna get back? So everything else, right? You can type it like this, or you can do exclamation mark equal banana land, right? Same thing. It's like not keyword. For this guy, there's also, it takes other operators. So equal looking for an exact match here, all right? Let's say where customer ID is equal to 2, right? So we'll get 2 back. I'm gonna put it in quotes. This one you can provide it without quotes because it's an actual number, not a string, not a text. But still, so looks for an exact match, but it takes any other operator. So we can say larger. So everything from 3, or we can say smaller. Do we have like a glossary with all those commands abbreviations? Yes, I will provide you a text file to practice at the end of the lesson. But if you want to kind of explore it on your own a little bit more, you can use Double30 Schools SQL, and it has like a lot of topics here. I'm just giving you what you really need right away if you're going to practice it at work, if they'll ask you to find something. Okay, now we're going to learn about wild characters. So wild characters greatly improve the way how you can search for things. One of them is %sign. This will match any pattern. Will return any pattern found. And I show you how it works. And there's underscore. Underscore will can be any character. And you can have many underscores. So and if you use either %sign or underscore, you can't use equal anymore because equal is looking for an exact match. So the keyword we're going to use now is like. Let me show you how it works. So we can say where customer ID like 2 and underscore. What do you think that's going to be? What do you think going to come back? Any guesses? Right, every record that has 2 and then any character after 2 comes in here. 0, 1, 2, anything. Right, it has to be 2 characters long. First has to be 2. The second one can be anything. That's with underscore. So we got all the 20s. Got it? Let's say we'll look for a country. Where country like underscore s underscore. What do you think going to be here? It also doesn't care about capital or low letters. So like ignores it. Doesn't care about it. Okay, we're gonna get USA back, right? USA, because it fits. No, it has to be 3 characters long, and the second has to be S. Because underscore can be any character, just one. So what we'll get back if I'll have 2 underscores here? Missing character, right? It's like this game on TV. They have a bunch of underscores, and you start guessing letters, and they open up. All right. That's funny. So 2 underscores. What do you think I'm gonna get back with 2 underscores in country? 2-letter countries, right? Let's run it. UK. Is that clear? All right, so what about that percent sign? What does it mean, like match in a pattern? So let's take a look for Berlin. So if we take a look at Berlin, we know there's only 1 record, right? So for Berlin, 1 guy. So I can do percent sign Lin. So if I run it, I still get Berlin back. This pattern is matched, right? Here, anything can go. So can begin with anything, but has to end with Lin. Is that clear how we got Berlin here? So I can do Ber percent sign. So how do you essentially say this in English? What is the search going to do? So anything that starts with Ber, right? Let's run it. And now we got 3 results. So we got Berlin, we got Bern, we got Bergamo. Is that clear? So let's say you're looking for a customer name where you know there's word SUI. You don't know anything else about it. You just know that SUI there. So you can do percent sign, SUI, percent sign, and run it. And here's our match. Looks good. You can combine them if you want. You can do S underscore underscore Y. Yep, still getting back. One interesting thing about this like search, it does respect spaces. So if I do space, percent sign space, percent sign space, percent sign space. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces here. So I'm going to search for a customer name whose name has at least 5 spaces, or essentially at least 6 words. Run it, and here we got 1 person. So let's see how it's matching. Okay, so here's our first percent sign. Then there's a space, the first space. Another percent sign right here. Another space, right? Another percent sign right here. Another space. 1 more percent sign. Space number 4. 1 more percent sign. Space number 5. And 1 more percent sign. Percent sign also can be nothing. So no value. How can we show that? So underscore, there has to be a value. Percent sign, there may be no value. So what that means, right? So let's say I will do USA percent sign. What do you think I'm gonna get back for country USA percent sign? Right, all the USA, doesn't matter. What if I'll do USA underscore? What will I get back? No result, because it expects a character to be here. Now it's waiting for a character to be here. So there's no country that starts with US, A, and then there's nothing. Clear? Is that clear? All right, so have fun with it. Create your own statement using like, percent sign, underscore in any. You can use only one of the keywords. You can use all of them. USA land, sure. All right, so yeah, create your own SQL statement where you use like keyword and percent sign or underscore or both. Where there will be a document though for that lesson that shows different commands like in Unix. Yes, there will be a document. I'll be sharing it at the end of the lesson. Can we use more examples with or and? Sure, let's do where country like US underscore. Let's do percent sign SA or country like U underscore and city has to be L underscore and percent sign. Okay, let's take a look what we're gonna find. SQA tester, do we work on SQL more? No, you do not work on SQL a lot unless the job specifically says that you have to be proficient with SQL. Sometimes you will work with SQL. Not every job, not every company. All right, so what we did here, so I said country, return everything where country is United States, like USA. We got all of them. And then here I say, or country like UK, because there's UK, and city has to start with L. Then there's any character, there has to be an after, and then ends with anything. And we got, well, because I used enter. It didn't work because I used equal. So equal is looking for an exact match. It should have been like here. All right, let's run it now. And now we got London. London, 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 London. And one lander right here. Look at that. Oh, that's from United States. Is this useful when you're trying to find that something that's spelled wrong? Yeah, I mean, it's useful if you know only part of the information. Like, again, as an example here, let's find all the contacts name that have last name Devon, right? Devon, for example. So if I do just like Devon, there will be no result. But if I'll do percent sign, so it will match. Can start with anything, can end with anything, but has to have Devon in the middle. Run it, and here's our contact name. Okay, so in your example here, look, it will help if you put it on every new line. So now, if you look at the statement like this, what do you think is missing? So you have your search criteria here defined. You're looking in a column country for United States. What are your search criteria here? Brazil is a value, but where are you looking for that value? What is missing after or? Right? So if we put country equals to Brazil, and then now search for it, here we go. Okay. Let's do like underscore 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 like b underscore and then a percent sign. Here, same thing. Just using the wild characters. All right, so we got some examples in the chat. Select everything from customers with customer ID like you. So starts with you, or country like A, ends with A. So this will give back any country that ends with A, essentially. Canada, Argentina, Australia, Venezuela, and so on. There is no customer ID that starts with a letter. Like and equal are not the same. You can't use wild characters with equal. Equal is looking for an exact match. Again, where city like Berlin will work, even though Berlin is with capital B. Doesn't care for lower upper characters. If you have equals, that is an exact match. Run it, no record. Yeah, for SQL command, for the keywords, it can be lower or upper. It doesn't matter. I would recommend just typing it upper because it helps with readability of your statements. So you don't confuse from with a from if there's a column named from, for example, something like that. Well, you probably can't have a column named from, but whatever, value from here. So how do you look for all postal codes that ending in odd numbers? Okay, so let's take a look. Select everything from customers where postal code odd numbers. So odd numbers have to divide by 2 without a remainder. So you can use modulo, where postal code equals where postal code divided by 2 modulo 2 equals 0. I think it also gives you 0 when there's a character. And like Yes, and postal code like and where postal code like. So I'm not sure. I need not and possible not like I need to exclude somehow letters. I don't know. Let's see. In A, B, and then so on. So you have to probably like provide all of the letters. Okay, so that will not work. In postal code not. Oh, quotes. I forgot quotes. Sorry, yeah. So and postal code in so like I guess you can do like all of that. Let's see if that works. No, it only. I mean, I'm pretty sure there is a good way to do it fast, but I'm not sure how can I exclude all of the characters because you'll have to type the whole alphabet, say, and it's not there, not in your search. Oh, so let me do this. Oh, that's where I had a mistake. Sorry, yeah. So when you have modulo 2 and equals with 1, this will be not divided by 2. So those are not even, right? And then by equals 0, this divided to even, but it will include letters. Okay, all right. So what does the modulo do? Modulo is a character that you can use. So you will divide by that value. Like if you take 10 modulo 2, how many times like it is included within 10? What is the remainder? So it will be 2, 2, 2, 2. So you have 5 2s in number 10. What will be remainder from that? 0, right? But let's say if we'll do 11 modulo 2, what will be remainder? 1. Yeah, so that's what modulo does. Like it will give you a remainder from the number that you provide after modulo. Like how many times you can fit that number within the number provided, and then it will give you a remainder, what is left, if there's one. Okay. Here's an example. Select everything from customers or a country like USA and country like Brazil. So this will not work because, oh, you guys, why do you think this will not work? What do you think is the problem here? Yep, you're correct. There are 2 countries, you have an and here. So you can't have, essentially what happens, like you're saying, hey, can I have Bob and Alice? Well, there's no record that has 2 values, like 2 cells within 1. That's why it shows you no result. But if you're going to use or, that will work. because it will return whatever is true. So this is true and this is true. And will return whatever is true for a single record. Both of the values have to be true, so that's impossible. With or, it will return them separately. Modulo returns a remainder. So 11 modulo 2 means not means divided by 2, it means modulo 2. So 10 modulo 2 is 0. 11 modulo 2 is 1. Right? So, I mean, just Google it, read about it. It's an operator that is used to find the remainder when two numbers are provided. Okay, so we're done with the kind of basic stuff. You can also use different functions in SQL, and I'm going to give you an example of some. So, for example, there is a price in products table, price column. Let's say you want to know average price. So what you can do function called AVG. There's a average function that exists. And then within the parentheses, you want to provide column that you're executing this function upon, right? So let's say price. Run it. Now we got average price of all our products. Another example would be, so let's say select. Okay, let's do select everything from country. Just a second. Let me grab one here. Okay, so let's do select count. Let's count everything. So this will go row by row and count records. What do you think I'm going to get back from count function on all of the columns? Like if I'll go record by record and count them. Let's just say 91. So it counted all of the values. Same thing will happen if you do it with any column, because still it's going to go through the column and then count the records in those columns. So I'm just going to count. What will happen if I'll do count country? So it's going to go line by line and count. What do I get back? Still 91. But you can do something like that. You can do group by country. All right, now all of a sudden I'm getting like grouped values for the countries, for the counted countries. All right, so I can provide country column as a first column to be shown. So select country name and then provide count country grouped by country. And now I have number of customers in each country. So we're doing some like data analysis right now. Right, and if you wanted more details, you can do order by, let's say order by count country. Country in descending order. Now I have from the highest to lowest. Then let's say I'm going to limit my output to 3 records only. Okay. Count country is kind of ugly, so we can give it ls as total customers. and run it like this. So we got a little nice column, and you can try it out, that finds top 3 countries with the most customers. Okay. All right, so let me share the document with you that I want you to take a look and read through. If you want, you can try and attempt to actually create your own database. I have links for the tools there, and like go through the instructions on create a database, populate it with data, if you're feeling adventurous. All right, here's the link here to the doc. I'm using this document as a helper for the class, so it's like essentially the plan for the class. And you can see here, there's some explanations of the things that we talked about. A link where you can practice in console. There's actual link to install a DBS database management system. Here's some explanations of the terms, commands to actually create a database, populate it with data. So all of those can be executed in the console. All right, so now we're going to talk about join a little bit. Not all the time you will be retrieving data from a single table. Many times you will have to get data from multiple tables under one database. So remember this. How do we know that Bob bought all those orders? How do we know that the Bob did it? Right, we looked at the ID. So we knew that foreign key references the same data as this primary key. So we take a look at this number 4, all those orders done by number 4. We know it's referencing this ID SSN. Number 4 here is the Bob. So that's essentially what you need to do in order to get data from multiple tables. So you need to provide this connection. There are several types of joins that can do that, but we're going to use inner join or call just join. Most of the places you're going to go to, you will only need join. Join will provide the data that is matching in both tables. So this is referenced, right? So table 1 and table 2 matching data will be returned in both tables that are matching. Left join, everything from left table returned, matching data returned from table 2. Right join, everything from the right table returned, matching data returned from table 1. Outer join, everything returned. So, but again, you're going to use just join, the first one. So how it's going to look at work. At work, you will have some sort of a tool that will allow you to access database. So for example, here we have DB browser that uses SQLite. So then you're going to open database, log into it or load it, whatever. And here it is. Here's the database. You can actually browse data. So I'm going through different tables here. There's classrooms table, there is enrollment data table, there's student table. So this database stores data about students. You can actually sort in the columns itself. So, if you want to get only Alex, that's cool. So you can work with data using the UI. Problem is when you have like thousands of records. So now it becomes problematic, and maybe you have to pull from 2 different tables. Then you go to the console. So let's do select everything from students. You see students green indicates that's the name of the table. So if I'm going to run this, I will get all the information from the students table. There is a diagram for this database. Let me show you the diagram. Looks something like this. Actually, that's exactly how it looks. So we can see there are 3 tables in this database: classrooms, enrollment data, and students. In classrooms, classroom ID is primary key. in enrollment data, enrollment ID is primary key, but it has two foreign keys. One is classroom ID, that is matching classroom ID in classrooms. And then the other one is student ID, that is matching student ID in students, right? So let's say I want to get as a response, last name of student, grade that they got for the class, and the class name that they attended. So I will be building a response, getting data from three different tables. From students, I'll get last name. From enrollment data, I'll get grade. From classrooms, I'll get class name. So how does that work? So first, you just say select everything from student. That is fine. That looks good. Then you need to start providing the, then you need to join a table that you want to bring in. So I'm going to join enrollment data. So I have students. Now I said I'm joining enrollment data. Join is inner join. This is inner join. This is the same as inner join. Okay, but it's not enough just to join enrollment data. You need to provide referential integrity. You need to say to SQL, hey, this IDSSN for orders actually stores the same reference as this IDSSN for customers. So this primary key is equal to this foreign key. And you need to provide this over here. So on students dot student ID equal to enrollment data dot student ID. So table students primary key student ID is equal to table enrollment data foreign key students ID. Now we run it and we got like all of the data, a bunch of it from both tables. And you can see it is repeating because you're pulling now from multiple tables, right? So in order to have a proper view of the data you want to see, instead of asterisk or a star, you want to start using table name and column name. So let's say I want to get from students, last name of a student. So select students dot last name. So here I'm getting students last name as first column. Then from enrollment data, I want to get grade. So again, select enrollment data. So you provide name of the table and the name of the column, grade. Run it, perfect. Have last name of student and the grade. Last thing I want to get in here is third table, classrooms. So same thing, I'm just doing join. What I need to join in? You guys help me? Classrooms. I know people, your brain hurt now, but that's okay. We're almost done. All right, we're joining classrooms, right? Looking at the diagram, I know that classrooms, classroom ID, this primary key, is equal to enrollment data classroom ID, this foreign key. Like this, you see this 1, 2, 3 next to the name of the column. That means this column data type it stores is numbers. This little yellow key means it's a primary key column. ABC next to a column name means this column stores text values. Also, normally on the diagram, you'll have like a little gray key similar to the yellow one, indicating where the foreign key. This diagram doesn't have it, so it doesn't matter. So we joined classrooms. Now we need to provide referential integrity. So enrollment data, or how they're connected. Classroom ID is equal to what? You guys tell me. Classrooms dot what? So classrooms is the name of the table, right? We need a column. Right, so classrooms dot classroom ID. All right, so we joined all of the tables together. One thing we want to add, we have a grade, we have a last name. We want to add a column where we pull the name of the class. So classrooms dot class name. Okay, run it, and that's what we get. So we get a beautiful response from 3 tables where we have last name of a student as the first column right here. Classroom, class name from the classrooms right here. And then the grade from the enrollment data right here. So I have the last name of student, class they attended, and what grade they got. There is a way to make this shorter. Every time when you pull a new table, you can give it alias. So let's say you do space and then alias, whatever you want to give it. So for students, I can give it, let's say S. For enrollment, I'll give it E. For classrooms, I give it C. So every time I pull it in for the first time, I give it alias. Everywhere else, I just use alias. So S, C, E, S, E, E, C. And now that's a lot shorter, still works the same. Okay. I know that's a lot of information. I know your brain is fried, but this is more of to understand how you can do it if it's needed to, that there is a reference to it. As a manual QA engineer, what most of the time you will be doing if you will have to go to the database, you just need to pull like basic data. So let's say John Smith from, employees table, right? Stuff like that. But yeah, you want to rewatch the video. You want to think about how this join worked. Just, pay some attention to it, rewatch it, take some notes. If you will have a position that wants you to be heavily invested in SQL testing, some of the jobs are like that. They then will want you to understand join and how you can join multiple tables together to get data from them. It's okay if you guys overwhelmed. It is expected because we covered today in 2 hours what they take in college, teaching college for SQL 101 for 3 months. So you're fine. You're overwhelmed. You're like a little bit lost. That's expected. Rewatching this video will help you though. And I'm pretty sure you're very good now with retrieving like basic data from the tables. Is it possible to practice join here? Yes, it is possible. It is possible. I don't have how the table's connected though. So if you want to practice SQL join W3 schools, let's go to, I don't know why it opened Firefox. So on W3 schools, there's actual SQL joins. Here's inner join. So we talked, inner join is just regular join, the one that will be mostly used. And you can see their examples here. So here's try it yourself. Over here, what they're doing, so they selected orders ID from orders table from here. They're selecting customer name from here, from customers table. How are they connecting those tables? So they're joining customers. So they brought in customers right here. So they pulled it in. You can't do without inner. And then they said that orders customer ID. So this customer ID in orders table is equal to customer ID in customers table right here. And then you run it and you got your order ID and the customer name. Should we write in our resume that we have knowledge of basic SQL after this lesson? Sure, yeah, you can say, yep, basic SQL or just SQL. For testers, and for testers, it's not, especially like for manual testers, not expected that you do operations with database. Only if the job description says that you have to be proficient with SQL. Some like maybe banking, testing, or in casinos, if you need to like verify the database updates and stuff like that, you have SQL statements there. But most of the time, if you're doing some verification and you're required to verify some data, you'll use it like, I don't know, once a week, once a month. You just go into database, pull some data up and verify that it's there. Some places you're not going to touch database at all. Okay. So, and if you really like databases and you like SQL today, I mean, there are jobs that are really heavily invested into that. So data analysis and backend development. Yeah, here's the link for try an SQL inner join if you want. Do you recommend a class course in Python? Python is good, but if you're doing manual QA, I mean, just get familiar with like HTML, CSS testing web pages, right? Get familiar with the networking tab and those API calls that are going out. Because if you talk about learning language, that means you're talking about automation. So we have a bootcamp on automation, but that's a little bit on the next level. In what situation do we use SQL SQA? Okay, so I had an example earlier today when application is partially ready. You create a profile on Facebook. Provide your first name, last name, your picture, your address, your password, you hit create profile. In the UI, you did it, right? But then login is not working, is not ready yet. So how do you verify that the profile was actually stored and created properly? What do you do? You go into database and you verify it in there. Okay, does that answer your question? All right. Okay. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the lesson today. You had some fun with this. Thanks everyone. Query language, yeah, SQL. And have a good night. Bye. What is S and what is S in SQL? So structured query language. Bye. Who do you do main in Overwatch? Not playing as much, but mostly Torbjorn. All right, bye.